So, beginnings. Whenever I teach a class or a workshop, there's always that question of how do you begin, particularly workshops. Endings are quite good, uh, but beginnings, how do we begin? And what do beginnings mean with various different histories and lineages and times? So, storytellers have always looked back to the beginnings, spinning tales of how the sun first rose, spilling tales of how worlds began, of how heroes were born. Of course, there's that classic hero's journey that writers use. So, how the sun first rose on a newborn world. So, just loosen up, move your shoulders, maybe one forwards, one back, nice and easy. You can keep the body on the central axis and just let the shoulders move a little. The hands can shuttle away gently over the legs. And then maybe a little bit of nodding. And the shoulders can come to a quiet rest. A little bit of nodding. Just loosen up the neck. A little bit of head turning. Nothing dramatic or forceful. Just easing. And then maybe a gentle tilt one way and the other while you're ready. No rush for any of this. And let that go. Lift the shoulders to the ears. Take them just a little back and down. And do that a couple of times. Very gentle, easy, almost languid shoulder roll. You can yawn through it if you need to, or sigh, let the breath loosen up. I'm not going to go into huge technical detail tonight, like we might sometimes do. And then you can kind of find that resting place. You might want to arrange your legs so you're comfortable. Doesn't have to be cross-legged or a fancy sitting position. And if any of the sitting goes on too long, stretch a leg out or hop onto a chair instead. So don't feel fixed or rigid. We'll look at the spine in one of the reflections later on. Allow a few easy breaths. And then bring your hands off your legs or out of your lap and just touch them together and give them a rub. Back of the hands, palms of the hands, wrists. Just that little bit more vigorously without clenching your jaw, without lifting your shoulders. Nice and loose and free. And when you've got a little bit of sensation, or even warmth if you're lucky, just gently palm your eyes. So, heel of the hand, pat of the hand is on the cheekbones, fingers are up into the forehead and hairline. Seal the eyes in, have them closed underneath the hands. Just enjoy the kind of sealing in. So you're kind of quietening down. You might slightly bow the head forwards, let the shoulders relax, but keep that kind of seal. You might want to visualize the warmth or the energy, or maybe there is some warmth. As you rest with the eyes and perhaps around and behind the eyes, can you also relax the face, let the jaw relax. Sense of space in the temples, the width of the forehead, even the frontal lobe of the brain. And relax the throat. Now keep the eyes closed, but just draw the hands down over the jaw to the throat. Cross the wrists and rest one hand on each side of the neck. So the arms are crossed over the upper chest. The chin can then drop, eyes are still closed, into that space, that reed space between the two forearms or the two wrists. So your arms are crossed, hands on the sides of the neck, chin down, eyes closed, and just soften in and breathe. When the endless night wraps itself around your thoughts and you are breaking under the weight of them, when the word hope feels heavy and you have forgotten what the light once felt like on your skin, then wait, hold on. Soon the goddess of dawn will slice through the sky on her golden chariot, driving away the darkness and making a path for the first rays of sun. Keep the eyes closed, but slide the hands down. Though it seems impossible, soon that soft light will wash over you, seeping into the cracks and making you whole again as a new day, as a new day begins. Slowly lift the head with a low gaze, partially open the eyes. I cannot promise you that the darkness will never come again, but I can promise you this. It will always, always be followed by the dawn. Feel free to open the eyes, but stay in the stillness of the posture. Maybe there's touch of feeling on the skin, sensation, and the touch of light, perhaps. rising of breath. Let the mouth open slightly if it's not already. And the tongue could lift towards the upper, kind of the upper palate behind the top teeth. That was a poem about Ushas. Would ask me how to pronounce that. Ushas, the goddess of the dawn. Okay. Not all beginnings are gentle. Some are born of movement and rumblings. So we're going to do some movement and then we'll step into the cloud forest. Are you ready? Yes. We don't want to sit all night. So stretch your legs and then stand when you're ready. I'll give you a better picture. So it seems the light has faded a little here. Hopefully you can see. So just stand for a moment, feel the feet on the floor. You might want to just rock a little from the ball of the foot to the heel, just gently. And you might want to move gently from side to side, one foot to the other. Let the knees soften. They're not locking anyway. You can have kind of a quality of length, but it's not tight-legged. The joints are free: ankles, knees, hips, lower back, belly. Belly's not a joint, but you know what I mean. And then when you find a good poise, a nicely balanced kind of weight, draw the chin in a little, bow the head without rounding the upper back, just the head and neck. And then lift and play with the shoulders. Let them wriggle and jiggle. Doesn't have to be symmetrical. And obviously, if you're nursing tightness or discomfort, then do a little less. Otherwise, you can go a little bit wild. You can do one and the other, or of course, both together. Think of a kind of toddler having a tantrum, showing off. And then let it gradually subside. And very, very, very slowly allow the head to find its natural poise. The chin can come up. Back of the neck can softly lengthen. Shoulders can drop. And breathe. Then again, bow the head. And play the shoulders. Have a wriggle and a jiggle. As loose and free as your current physiology allows. So don't go too wild if it doesn't feel good. And then let that, again, just gradually wind its way towards stillness. Things are never quite perfectly still, but let the movement subside. Again, the head can come up slowly. And you can kind of tune into your breathing. Then gently, gently shift your weight more onto one foot than the other. You'll find that your head drifts to come over that foot. So the other foot's kind of quiet, light, and your weight's dropping through one. And then just lift the heel of the lighter leg, the empty leg. So you're on the ball of the foot of that leg. And then place the heel down. And as you do so, lift the other heel. And just alternate, shifting the weight and lifting the heel of the other leg. So you're shifting your weight from side to side gently. You can play with the width of the feet. and just walking on the spot. Now, as you settle your weight through one leg, as the weight shifts, bend both. So as one heel comes up, you're bending both. And you can rise and fall like that. So at some point, you're on the balls of both feet. That one comes down and you sink. The other heel will lift. If you're not sure, just make it up. You're walking on the spot a little. A bit like moonwalking almost, without going anywhere. Nice muscularity. You can put a little bit of a twist in it, as if you were walking. And there's a little bit of a, not quite a squat, but a little bit of a dip of a bent knees as you come down each time. Look after your knees in this. Make sure they go over the toe line and not collapse inwards or lay outwards any more than you would naturally walking. Just let the breath be easy and flow. Softening the throat, softening the chest. And feel the muscularity of the legs. Or just working the lower body, having you loosened up the shoulders. And then at some point come high on the balls of the feet. And let both heels quietly come down, almost as if you're sending the heels out behind you. So if you turn the feet out about 45 degrees, you can't see my feet in that picture, but about 45 degrees. So the heels are close but not touching. You can either just stand like this, you can do this sitting as well. But if you're happy to, you gently drop your weight and either keep the heels on the floor. The knees will go wide, but let them follow the lines of the toes. They're not collapsing in towards each other. And you drop in height, keep upright, and then come up again. So it's like a ballet plie. And then if you want to, and you're able to, and happy to, you can lift the heels. And then heels come down and legs gently lengthen without locking. It's easy, isn't it? It can be just an inch, or you can go a little lower. You don't have to lift the heels. You don't even have to dip if it doesn't suit you. It's just a rise and fall gently. That's the legs. And then come up. Now, lift the shoulders. Lift the elbows. Lift the hands. Drop the shoulders. Drop the elbows. Drop the wrists and hands. Shoulders. Elbows. Wrists. Almost as if the arms were a marionette's arms. And so the shoulders come gently up. Elbows and hands. We won't do the hand mover for this, just keep it relaxed. So the arms can gently fly. We've moved above Tibet, where the other exercises come from, into China. This is a Chinese exercise. Now, as the shoulders and arms come up, bend the knees and drop in height. Whether you pick up the heels as well is up to you. And gently down. The poem that or the story poem we're going to hear in a moment, evokes a heron. But this is actually a crane posture. a white crane or a white-headed crane. There is a red-headed crane poster, but we'll leave that. And of course, there is a Tibetan yoga version called flying, which doesn't involve the legs, and it's just an arm. And you can be a bit playful in it, kind of articulation you can play with, make it more bird-like. And you can omit the legs if it doesn't suit your knees. The legs are still there, but you can omit the movement. Couple more, and then just bring it to a quiet close. And rest when you're ready. Gently bring it to your seat. We've got a lot of energy circulating. Different movements. Allow some settling of the breath, some abdominal, diaphragmatic abdominal breath. You'll feel it in the lower body. It's not the literal breath, of course, but the feelings, the sensations. Allow them to kind of percolate down a little and the breathing to respond. You can soften the gaze or close the eyes if you wish. Remember the grounding of the stepping. With that sense of weight and support from the lower body. And then you can feel the loosening of the shoulders in your kind of reserve of feeling. And then the taking off, the flight. Let all three energies and feelings, without kind of cognitively working anything out, just let the feelings be there. You can play between the three. The sense of ground, the sense of looseness, and the flight. They're all there in you. Then allow a sense of space The sensations themselves can open. Feelings can not just percolate, but radiate. Let that be a very light quality. That kind of sense of ease, of just the morning mist, slowly, slowly clearing, or of a beginnings of the sunrise, just the rumour and the hint of the day. So the feelings can have a lightness. The body can become less solid. Perhaps the breathing responds to a lighter, maybe slower, softer. Just the rippling of feeling, of relaxing, of letting be. Let's visit an Aztec god. Let's step into the cloud forest. Here, where treetops have cut the belly of the sky and let their mist pour out to settle in the branches, the ancestors' tears glisten on every leaf and form their diamonds on spider webs. Beneath the leaves, the pyramid steps are littered with beads, jade, glistening, like bright insects against the stone. Tilach rests his cloak of clouds, lays down the serpent staff and axe of jade, and with a gesture strings the beads with spider web, and lifts the necklace to wear. He's pleased. There are no fangs to bear, no anger now. The year has been good. He shakes his shoulders and transforms, walking the mountain now in heron form, stalking tall through the gathering puddles, long grey black back, slick with moisture. He lifts his gaze and flies up above the forest canopy, lighting crackles along his feathers as he rises. Thunder rumbles with every beat of his great wings, and he drives the clouds down the plains, and the rains come. The rains come, nourishing the earth, bringing forth green shoots to break through the soil. Tilach watches his people turn their faces to the sky, and he is pleased. Just gently lift your gaze. Allow a kind of soft, open-eyed, almost peripheral gaze. Let the mouth open a little, the tongue lift. Soft throat. Almost a sense of awe. And breathe. Relax the head, relax the gaze. So let's take that into a Kumne exercise. If the feet come close, or the heels come close, with the knees to the sides. Now, if you struggle with the knees out to the sides, if they're up by your ears when you do that, take them further from the body. So the heels are further away. If you're comfortable, you can bring them in a little closer. It's just to take the stress off the hamstrings while the legs are ahead of you. And then you've got the kind of open fold of the knees. You probably can't see my legs there. I can't go any further back to show you. I'm sitting on my own hearth already. So you've got the knees gently displayed. Now the hands want to come behind you on the floor. So if you're on a high cushion, just be careful or puff a little. And if you want to modify the legs somehow, then you do. If you're on a chair, just sit towards the forward, kind of forward point of that chair, the front edge, without slipping off, and put your hands on the seat behind you. Then you lift the chest a little, and draw the shoulder blades together a touch, and lift the sternum. You can lift the gaze as well, but you can lift the gaze as well, but don't let the head hang back. Keep a kind of open channel, not cutting it off at the throat. Eyes can widen a little, like a child in a toy shop. Ah, let the mouth open. And then gently take the foot. I'm mixing my words. Like gently take the tongue forward and slightly down, as if you're catching snowflakes. Wide eyes, wide mouth, tongue forwards and down. And relax. Let the jaw go, let the eyes soften. Let the shoulders come forward and straighten gently. You can bow the head if that's more comfortable, or you need to loosen the neck. Just a sense of resting in the feeling. So there's a kind of open flowing feeling as we do this. It's not strong tongue out and strong throaty feelings like Simhasana and Hatha Yoga. It's much more gentle. There's no forceful exhalation in it, but there is breathing. So let's play again. Keep it very light and open. Hands behind your shoulders, back gently. Sternum lifts, gaze lifts. Slightly wider eyes. Jaw relaxes, tongue comes forward. You can relax the tongue and keep it kind of open, wow quality. And then you slowly let it all relax. So if you let the legs come in when you're ready, comfortable sitting. We are going to fold forwards in a second. So if you're on a very high cushion, just be wary, you don't want to topple off. So we're going to shake a little. Uh, it can be done hugely vigorously, like a dog coming out of a semi-long-haired dog. Not a long-haired dog, not a short-haired dog, but a semi-long-haired dog coming out of a, don't know, it's dived into a river or a pond or something, comes out and it shakes itself. This is actually a wild horse shaking its mane. We're going to fold forwards a little bit as we do it. And you go over one leg and then the other, and then over the center line. So you do it 3 times. Now, be mindful if you've got any tendency to dizziness or labyrinthitis or anything like that. And you can shake, or a head cold sometimes can make you a bit dizzy. And it's just, I wouldn't shake the jaw too vigorously, but it's nice and loose. It's called well, standing version is wild horse shakes its mane. Here we're just loosening up. But before we do, because we're playing the horse idea, a little bit of English geography. So this might go over the heads of Carilla and perhaps Fiona and Angie. I don't know how well you know southern England or southwest England. My father lives in Wiltshire. I'm in South Oxfordshire, so the other side is my dad. The other side of Oxford, you go becomes Wiltshire as opposed to Oxfordshire. And in Wiltshire, there's hills. There's various other places in the southwest as well. There's a place called Uffington, a little town, and there's Uffington Hill. It's part of the Ridgeway and the Chilterns, which is a ridge of hills, for those of you who don't know. Um, and on there, there's various white horses in chalk, a bit like the t-shirt I'm wearing, specifically chosen for that reason. I found it in the cupboard the other day, the Uffington White Horse. Um, so this is to do with that white horse. So we're gonna wild horse shaking its mane, then we'll sit uh, and we'll look at the little reflection of the white horse. So. Sit tall, loosen up a little bit. You're going to fold a little to one side and shake a little. Shoulders shimmy, face can shimmy. Be careful if you wear goggles, not to shake them off. So, and you do that on an out breath. So breathe in to one side and then gently up. Other side and gently up. Just make sure that you haven't been too vigorous. You might need to let things settle or decide to opt out. But if you're happy, you can do it again. You can take yourself all the way forwards without toppling. And then sit, let the energies settle. You've probably woken yourself up and you might need some deep breaths. I don't know if you've ever seen horses vigorously shake, particularly wild horses. They actually look upwards slightly, yeah, not down, but never mind. Uffington Hill. So up Uffington Hill. Each and every spring they come to climb the hill, to clean the chalk, to leave the horses white as they can for another year. Locals, ramblers, families, all toil away with tools, with trowels, and all weekend they'll work this mound, this chalk hill, formed of countless shells that fell to what was once an ocean floor, though no one seems to know for sure who created the horse or why. Now look at those legs outstretched as if in flight. So is it a supernatural horse, a spirit free from gravity's reins, mortality's bones, released to rise above these hills, far above the sleeping earth beneath, the deepest ocean of them all, of stars? So can you sit in a little bit of mystery? Something's born and rising, and we don't know where it's come from or why it's there, but we tend to it nonetheless. Okay. I don't know about you. A lot of people are, but I'm very partial to trees. Um, I very much like trees. I've got a favorite tree around here on my my short walks as opposed to my long walks, but there's a tree in the meadow just off the River Tame. The River Tame becomes the River Thames at the beginning. You can follow it right from the Thames right from its beginning or its various tributaries into the Tame and then into the Thames. And I live near the Tame. Uh, and there's a part called the Cut, which leads into meadows. And I've got a favourite tree there. It's a giant oak. Must be hundreds of years old. It's my favourite tree, and I go and stand by it when I walk for a bit. But I can't get to it at the moment because the meadow's flooded. Uh, and my mother, bless her soul, when she was alive, used to walk every day and stand by her favourite tree somewhere over in near Swindon where she lived. And I'm fascinated by trees. I read about them all the time and I watch them and I sketch them. Uh, so yeah, I'm fascinated by trees. So of what we're doing tonight, this is my favourite poem or favourite reflection. But let's find the smile in a tree-like way. So you might want to stretch your legs because we're going to be sitting for another 10 minutes or so, and then you can uh, zone out. So if you sit ideally cross-legged, and again, not too high a cushion. If you're doing this on a chair, have the feet wider. I'm saying this for the recording, really, because you guys are all on the floor. But if you're sitting on a chair, have your legs a little wider and your feet flat and sit towards the front third of the chair. If you're on the floor, then the hands turn inwards on the knees or the thighs. So your elbows are a little wider. It's quite a bold stance, bold kind of posture. And then very, very slowly, keeping your sit bones down, you kind of half fold and half bend. So slight curve and then hinge or furl. That's kind of fold and curl, furl. You might find there's a little bit of a drawing back of the abdomen naturally when you fall forwards. So you can allow that and be conscious of that. Of kind of feeling at the base of the body, perhaps even the base of the spine engages a little. You might find that the breathing plays a little in the back. Simply because it's slightly restricted in the front. Or it might be a more lateral quality. It doesn't really matter. Just be conscious of it wherever you feel it. And then turn the fingers forwards or the hands forwards. Slight pressing against the legs and very, very slowly unfold through the spine. Now, I tend to think of this on the front line of the spine that faces forwards, not the back. And you slowly ascend or unfurl. And then you can sit in the gentle tensile length of the spine. So it's like the trunk of a tree. There's a kind of gentle play and malleability there. That gentle tensile quality. You can think of it as the stem of a plant, if that's easier to imagine. So it's lengthened but not rigid. In the beginning, faith was a tree. Before the buildings, there were verdant yews and enchanters' rowans. The people sought comfort in the gnarled arms of wych elms and the broad spread of ancient oaks. The summer whisper of beeches was our song of joy in lands where the sun works hardest. Grew the sacred fig and olive, the baobab, I can't say it, the baobab and the cypress. Beneath these green canopies, the people gathered and found sanctuary and hope for the future. Before they worshipped in the front of brick and gold, there was branch and leaf and roots that ran to the very soul of the earth. In the beginning, faith was a tree. Just 2 minutes. Being a tree. Faith was a tree. Okay. Have you got a blanket? Or are you warm enough? Have a lie down and cover yourself with a blanket. You can have the legs bent, you can stretch the legs out, you can use a pillow, you can put something behind the knees. Just have a break. Pop yourself under something warm or on something warm. Lie on the bed. Whatever you want to do with your teddy bear. Have a little wriggle, a little shake out, lying down. Let the spine shimmy, let the shoulders find a little bit of width across the upper back. Arms can fall to the sides or you can rest them on your tummy. Just get comfy. You can sit through it, but I probably prefer to lie down. And when I was studying yoga philosophy years and years ago now, I looked at Hindi mythology first of all, and I wrote a paper on some bits. One of the Hindi mythologies is the world being carried on the back of a turtle. And then I came across, of course, or remembered reading Terry Pratchett, and one of his stories, it has the world on a turtle, completely stolen from Hindi mythology. And then this, a little poem, a little bit of nonsense we're going to do, just reflecting lying down, just listening. You don't have to reflect, just listen. Uh, is Balinese from Bali, and it's the serpent and the turtle, or a very Balinese beginning. But first of all, get comfy. Feel the back of the body on the ground. Let the head rest. Whatever you've got it on. Folding blanket, pillow, the floor, whatever. Feel the shoulders. Feel the gentle relief and width of the shoulders, softening the throat and chest. Maybe feel some of the ribs on the floor, or rib cage isn't symmetrical totally. The kind of thoracic spine, the upper back. There might be a natural curve to the low back, or it might be settling a little if you've got the legs bent. The back of the pelvis. Can imagine the sacrum falling away. Ah, the resting of the legs or the feet. If you've got the feet on the floor and the knees up, it's worth taking the feet a little further apart and turning them in slightly so that the knees fall towards each other but not together. That makes it very stable. It gives you a nice width to the lower back and the back of the pelvis. Like maybe take a few easy deep breaths. And as you relax and as you allow yourself to settle, just be conscious of the feeling of the back body on the ground, almost as if you can hear the very motion of the earth, the very aliveness. Even if you're 5 stories up, you can imagine the ground way, way beneath you. Wherever you are, whatever surface you're on, whatever dwelling you're in, you can imagine the ground beneath you through the stories of the building or the foundations of the building. Down, down, down. The serpent and the turtle, or a very Balinese beginning. Now, if you lie an ear to the earth, you'll hear it had many beginnings. Beginnings that began with birds or bridges or ice or eggs or you name it. Someone will tell you a story that starts with it. So here is one such beginning to the world, and it's told to us from the small green island of Bali, and is currently a good one, or as the Balinese people might say, bich, bich. At the beginning of the world, there was not too much of anything, as is often the case. There is only a flat, single nothing, which was all at once the longest, shortest, clearest, cloudiest, sweetest, sourest, nothingest nothing that ever there was, or rather wasn't. In the middle of this nothing, there lived a snaky, serpenty slitherer called Antiboga. You can name Antiboga with Rant or Frogja, but I suggest you don't. Antiboga the serpent had a slippery, sliding, rainbow belly, and he was as long as a story with no end, but twice as lonely. One morning, Antiboga decided it was about time. There was less nothing and more something. So this is what he did. Antiboga closed his cool black eyes and fell into a long, low snooze that bid his blood to doze in his veins, while deep inside his green and serpenty brains he began to dream of a turtle so huge, so high, so mind-janglingly enormous that even the tiniest tooth at the back of the turtle's great green mouth was 22 times taller than the mightiest mountain you could imagine. And just like that, the turtle appeared, for this is how things were done in those days. The turtle's name was Bedwang, which is just as you want to say it, but Bedwang, that's correct, also agreed it was about time there was less nothing and more something. Better yet, Bedwang, the turtle, had an idea. He realized his huge green shell was the perfect place to put islands and oceans and songs and gongs and people and pineapples, by which Bedwang meant everything. And no sooner had Bedwang the turtle began to imagine islands and oceans and songs and gongs and people and pineapples balanced on his shell, then just like that, they appeared. For this is how things were done in those days. There was, however, a problem. When everything had settled on Bedwang's back, Bedwang found he had a fidget in his front left foot, and try as he might not to fidget, fidget he did. And the instant he twitched, so the world above him twitched, and the ocean bellowed, and the ground trembled. And Bedwang saw that he'd better be careful, for no one wants bellows or trembles like these. But as everyone knows, a fidget can be tricky to refuse. And so it came to pass that Antiboga the serpent and Bedwang the turtle had made the world and given it a home. And while Bedwang slept and twitched and twitched and slept, which meant the world on his back slept and twitched and twitched and slept. Still, Antiboga and his rainbow belly drifted on beyond the skies, as long as a story with no end. But now, twice as cheerful. And that, dear listener, is how this particular beginning began. Good night. 4 more minutes. Okay. You're welcome to stay resting, or you can stay yourself if you wish. So hopefully that was a useful little playful experiment. Next week we go into sailing beyond the sea. We've got 2 weeks of sailing beyond the sea. Next week we're looking at quests. The week after we'll look at heroes or heroines. Quests. Have you ever read the Odyssey? Yeah. Well, there's a couple of films out. There was one last year about Odysseus' return. There's one out this year that's supposedly covering the whole thing. Quite how, I don't know. It must be a long film, or probably be a sequel. Um, there's this Natalie Hayes, an English scholar writing about Greek. She's writing about the women in Greek mythology, the ones left at home, like Penelope in the Odyssey, weaving a cloth, will marry again when the tapestry's finished or whatever. Uh, so just to give you a taster of next week, this is on reading the Odyssey before going to bed. So astounded by tales of desire, adventure, and the constant rolling sea, I had to get up twice in the night to pee. So, quests next week.